I'm Jason Brown. I'm the financial consultant that you had asked to set up the plan for you. I appreciate you and your wife coming in today to talk to me about this. Now, I already sent you the financial plan that I typed up, and there were a few points that I wanted to go over a little bit more in detail. Now, this appointment is what I call the red pen appointment. This is where I want you to kind of go through everything I've written down, make sure I have the numbers correct, make sure that anything that you might have a question on, you make sure to ask me. This is where we're going to be setting this up for 5, 10, 20, 15, 25 years from now. So we want to make sure we have a good foundation. So right off the bat, I just want to let you know, this is a fee-based appointment. So that is how I work, is that, there's that initial fee and then an ongoing fee after that, depending on how much time we spend together. So to hop right into it, to deal with more of the bigger points, answer some of the questions that you had up front. Like, for example, you had asked how your investment performance went. All the investment performances look great. There was one that looked like it was doing a little bit less than the market average, and that was the one in Mia's portfolio. But still doing well. But might want to revisit that with an investment advisor. Now, moving on to the next couple of questions you had, dealing with long-term savings, retirement, dealing with your kids' education. You had some questions about 529. How 529 works is you put in after-tax money, it grows, and then if you take it out for a higher education expense, it obviously is tax-free. In some states, you can actually get a state income tax reduction, like in the state of Virginia that we're in. You do get a state income tax reduction, so you do get to kind of double dip on that. Now, with that, I did put in the exact amounts of what your kids will need and how much you'll need to save now based on the returns we're estimating to afford their colleges. Now, one thing I've noticed that always puts a flat tire on these plans is people not focusing on their own long-term care. Now, you know that you need to have your parents' long-term care set up, and you asked me a couple questions about that. But one thing I would focus on is also getting your own long-term care plan. The earlier you get it, the cheaper it is as well, and the more likely you qualify for it. Nothing can deflate a retirement or child's education as if you lose your job or then you get a disability and you're having to do that long-term care and home health care yourself. So that's something I'm kind of on the sidebar for the next year or two. I would look that up. And there's a couple different ways of doing it that we can look at for you. Now, since we are talking about retirement and how to protect it with the long-term care, dealing with your retirement accounts, I got the amount calculated, how much you'll need at retirement to retire comfortably with 80% of your income. I also wanted to talk about the business retirement plans because that is a little bit more intensive. So you have the SEP and you have the Simple, and those are the two that you want to focus on. The SEP has its pros and cons. The Simple has its pros and cons. So it's really up to you. You asked for my recommendation. I personally would go with the Simple. It does check off more boxes for you. The cons that came with it, you are able to contribute a little bit less than you would if you did a SEP. The pro is, though, you can exclude more of those part-time clients and you can incentivize your employees saving themselves. So not just your contributions, but also their contributions. They have a little more skin in the game. And then you can contribute, you can do some profit sharing, you can toss it in. So you get a lot more incentives that are based on merit rather than just how much you contribute to yourself and then you have to give everyone else the same percentage. So I would definitely go with the Simple in that scenario. Another thing dealing with retirement is you're probably looking for a way to put a little bit more funds into those accounts, a little bit more funds in the 529. One simple solution I found to that is with your mortgage. Prevailing rates right now are dramatically lower than what you have. So one thing that I put a chart up here for you. If you kept paying on your mortgage as is right now, you would pay over $147,000 in interest from this point on. If you got a 30 or a 15 year from this point on, including closing costs, you would pay only $31,000 with a 15 year, or $76,000 with a 30 year. Now, those both have lower payments than what you're paying now. So either way, you're saving money, but that extra $100 to $400, depending on which one you wanted to go with, could go to your child's education, could go to long-term care policy, or could go to more retirement savings. You're looking at $4,800 a year extra that could be contributed to that. So that's something I would definitely sit down with a mortgage broker. I have a couple I can refer you to. last thing I want to touch on is you asked me to review um, the property exchange that you're coordinating with Ted. It looks fine. I wrote in there the exact ramifications financially, tax wise. But one thing I want to touch on is you might want to do a cost benefit analysis of that. Um, if you're having to do this exchange and then put 75,000 into it, you have a lot invested in that before you even sell one thing that makes it worth it. Now, I do know you live in a small town. I do know Big Joe's has a great following, but can the town support the expansion of business? Not would it be successful, not would people be willing there, but are there enough people needing that from you in order to meet that, to fill up that room to justify the extra 75,000? So that's one last thing I would go over. Forgot this. You had asked me to send the financials over to Ted. Unfortunately, I have to use the most relevant ones. As my job as a financial planner is, I'm supposed to be an outsider, unbiased. I'm supposed to give you an honest opinion, good or bad. So I have to send whatever financials, good or bad, are most accurate and up to date. Unfortunately, I can't send the 2016 and mislead him in that way. But this is something that I want to start this relationship on a good foundation. I want to make sure that you guys know you can trust me and I can trust you. And so that's why I just wanted to make sure that was clear right up front. But if when you look over, like I said, here's the red pen. Go through it. Let me know if there's any corrections you want to do, any updates you want to do, and then we'll be able to move forward and help you out retire and get all your problems solved and help you on your way to get your dream retirement. Well, hey, it's been a pleasure talking to you both. I hope you have a great evening and enjoy your day.